is they're carrying out the will of the people. And they believe the will of the people. And we didn't just pluck this out of the sky. We've had a company do a study. We have the results back from that study, and we're going to continue to work with them to make sure that we're following the will of the people. And we believe the will of the people is they would prefer 2 smaller high schools in this valley versus 1 great big one. And we will build it to the specs of normal school standards that will stand the test of time, and it will be something that we can all be proud of, and that our kids can feel like they're getting the very best education they can. And don't think that we don't work overtime to make sure that that happens. It's a whole other discussion to tell you about the reputation of Wasatch County School District. And I'd love to spend a couple hours with you going over that and give you a list of visitors that come from all over this country to see what we're doing here and to emulate it. We're working very hard to do the best we can, and we're concerned about the growth. We're very concerned about the growth. We would love to sit down with Heber City and with Wasatch County and talk more about what does this growth mean? What does this growth mean? And I think that those conversations need to happen, and they need to happen in a very collaborative, collegial way.
I would love to participate as well. Thank you. And I appreciate it. And I need to tell you that I've got nothing but positive feedback on the work you're doing. And so please don't take my questions in any way as derogatory towards you or any of your board. We're public servants, and we're all doing the best we can do. So thank you.
Heidi, let me just follow up. Okay, I just want to reiterate support. We are going to do all we can to make this cost effective, but also provide an optimal educational experience for our students. And as my constituents, I would say conservatively, at least 7 out of 10 that talk to me are saying, when are you going to build another high school? So I'm hearing from my constituents saying, this is what we want, this is what we want. In fact, I've had even a few say, why don't you build 2 right now?
More than a few.
Which is what Cache Valley did. 2 years ago, they built 2 high schools. They started them both, did them both, and then one was completed 1 year, and the next one's the next year. Because they want to keep that level of high school, that 12.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that we do that.
It's a philosophy that you've adopted.
It is.
Great. Yeah.
But I just want to reiterate that we take it very seriously. We want to build a school that, as the superintendent said, that will last a long time. It will be benefit for our students, educational, and will be something that our community will be proud of.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
I do think it's important when you look at the cost of running these schools. Half the students are going to a new school. So you're going to get resources from that school going to the new school.
Yeah, half the teachers will go to the new school. And we may have to increase some, but we won't have to double it because half the students are going there. So half the teachers will go to that new high school also.
And then any state tournament in the 3A, 2A, they all come to Heber City. They're all part of the aquatic center. They run tournaments and championship there. The basketball teams, they use the nest. And the weekends when the 2A and the 3A schools are in Wasatch County, you can tell. There's people buying food at restaurants, staying at hotels, spending their time and money here because of the facilities. Nice facilities. Brings people that want to live here too. The growth is because people want to raise their children in Wasatch School District. So it's all interconnected. And I do look forward to continuing to work with the city councils and the county councils, because that's really where we're at. Every time development or a housing subdivision gets put in, for every house there's a student that needs to be educated. So we're working together for the future of the community, for sure. Go ahead.
Let's talk about a little different issue, please. When I first heard about the location that you're proposing, I had one immediate thought. I think most of us are parents here and grandparents here. You've mentioned seismic issues. You've mentioned built to last. It's just that how can you protect against a flood zone? How can you protect against that? It's one thing if private owners want to build within the flood zone. If there was an earthquake and the dam happened to break, which we, heaven forbid, would never want. It's one thing when private owners build in the flood zone. It's a totally different animal, I believe, when a government entity builds a building of several thousand people capacity in a flood zone, where there is, I don't know of any way that evacuation could happen, that protection could happen in a flood zone. I know it's an easy place to build because it's flat. But boy, as a parent, that was the first thing that I thought of. My main concern on the city council is safety, 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 bottom line. And I just don't know how you can propose this site with any kind of safety standards because none of us control earthquakes. I understand about seismic, thank you. Seismic standards are super important, but what kind of standards could be put into place for a flood zone protection, especially that close to the dam? I'm sorry, I just don't understand that. I can't understand that. My other question and concern is that is the school district interested in working with the UVU Wasatch Campus to create greater synergy around that campus? I would hope you would. That Wasatch Campus, has struggled in many ways, lots of challenges to try to grow it, and it's still sitting there. And I think that you have an incredible opportunity, if and when you build another high school, to consider the synergy that could happen if you were closer to that Wasatch campus. Now granted, land prices, I understand that, but land prices are likely never to decrease unless we get another greater recession, and I can't predict that. But I'm just saying, to me, the synergy with UVU and the Wasatch campus is a definite plus for the students, for that college preparation, or to build the campus. So again, I'm concerned about the location and any kind of safety, evacuation, protection. Why would you build it to last in a flood zone? I just can't see that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Kendall.
I haven't looked at the maps for a while, but I don't think that location's in the flood zone.
It is.
Well, I think we should.
I think
check
that the
that
worst case
out.
scenario doesn't come.
Okay, but Jordan now is even trying to increase the water, the acreage water up there. I've been reading on their website.
They can't make it any bigger. It is what it
They're
is.
making it deeper, okay? So
Well,
I'm
they can only
saying,
go to the top
once
of the
that,
dam.
yes, but we know that there's room there. And I'm just saying that I don't know how you can protect safety there. Kendall, it's going to be within a few hundred feet.
Heber Valley Elementary, Mike Witt's right across the road, his front porch is level with the top of Memorial Hill. That's how deep the valley is between Heber Valley Elementary and Midway. On a transit, his front porch is level with the top of Memorial Hill.
I'm sorry, I don't understand either.
It means that if you run a string from his front porch to the top of Memorial Hill, it'll be flat. That's how deep the valley is between Heber and Midway. It doesn't look that way. What I was saying is, the worst case scenario, Sean, is that on the MAG's site? Well, I guess it doesn't
It's on the
matter.
county website, it's up on that.
Yeah, and I don't think it comes that high.
I'd say we should double check.
Maybe I'll look at it,
that,
but,
because I'm
We're doing our due
concerned.
diligence.
yeah.
We're doing our homework. I hope everybody realizes that the homework that we're doing is countless hours, weeks, early mornings, late nights. We're not going at this just at a whim. So there's a lot of due diligence going on.
The Army Corps of Engineers would put a stop to it if it's in the floodplain at a risk too.
Have you applied to them?
Yes.
And can you give us documentation of what they said?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. In the
So
process of
you
due
asked,
diligence.
you asked for more than just wetlands
Oh, yeah.
impact.
We have to account for the western grebes, babies, just everything we have to.
And it's done?
Whatever the.
No, it's not done.
We're still-
We're in the process. We're moving through it. We're just finishing up some of the due diligence, but Heidi, thank you for the suggestion. We'll double check. We'll make sure. If we're UVU,
Well, we're currently using it.
yeah.
We've got 200 students that go up there as part of our CAPS program. So we are working with them, and we use that facility at this point. And
Do you provide busing to the UVU campus? See, I didn't think so, and I realized that was
we do to those.
limiting
uh,
to people that.
Yeah, those students that want busing can have it, there's not many that do. Most of them would prefer to drive up themselves or carpool, but for the CAPS program, any student that needs transportation, we would provide it. Absolutely.
That's for juniors and seniors.
Juniors and seniors mostly. We partnered with UVU for these very reasons that you're talking about. I've had personal discussions with both President Holland and now President Tavinez. We continue to keep talking with UVU. Another big piece of the puzzle for us in the future would be MTech. MTech is not just for high school students, it's primarily for adults. MTech is our state-sponsored technical program that gives students very good, very employable skills, labor skills. And we're working with those two things. We have a lot of things going on in the Wasatch County School District. We are taking those things into consideration. We did look at possible school site at Jordanelle. There's just not a population right now up there to support it. Even with a high school, students and families, and we've done our bits of research here and there, and we got a pretty strong response from some of the folks that we tend to get opinions from and listen to. If you build this school right now out north of town, that nobody's really going to consider it their home school. We didn't really think that the west side of Heber and the Midway community all wanted to drive their kids out on Highway 40. It's the most dangerous road we have in the county. I can guarantee you that we've thought all of these things through very well. These are not decisions we've just made off the cuff. There's been lots of time spent in doing the due diligence on that. I could see possibly a third high school being north towards the Jordanelle Basin. We've talked about the Jordanelle Basin having a bigger population than the rest of the county since I was in high school in the 80s. I think it's finally starting to get to the point where it's maybe going to start really growing. And if we look at the demographic numbers, if we look at what's going on, let me just share this with you. Let me share some numbers. I think that I did get a chance to glance through the questions that were sent to me, and I don't know that we want to go through all of those, but I'll share one with you. It was asked me about the yield factor, students per unit. We do know the yield factor. We know the yield factor for every. We know the yield factor for every subdivision, for every area. And guess where we find that information from? Guess where our demographers find that information? It's ironic that you're asking us, because our demographers find that in your planning offices, in the county, the city of Heber, the city of Midway. And I'll share those numbers with you. It's very interesting. And I think it's something that we would ask you as zoning and planning people to have these numbers in mind when you're approving the subdivisions, when you're approving developments. Single family units in Heber City have a 0.9 ratio. So let's just say one child per unit will need to be educated. The multifamily, it drops a little bit. It drops to 0.7. So on an average, call it 8 or call it more. I think there will probably be more single units than multi. I'm not sure about that though. For Midway City, it's 0.6. This is an average. We do have it by area. For Wasatch County, it's 0.4. And when they do, and that varies depending on, the 1 acre and the 5 acre, which is a whole different part of that math equation. So just to keep in mind, yes, this is a nice, beautiful picture of my parents. I'm very proud of, and they were the Grand Marshals at this year's county parade. But alongside of their article is the one here about the Sorenson annexation. So as you look through this article, and seriously, we should be working together more closely. I shouldn't have to read about this in a newspaper and vice versa. You guys have expressed some of the same sentiment. We need to be working better together. But as you read the rest of this article, it says that this Sorenson annexation would result in 5,570 housing units. So if we use the 0.9, we're talking about this one unit adding over 5,000 students to our school district. Well, we're only just over 7 now. So that's a whole new school district, just one development. And I think we have to keep those things in mind. With you folks doing the approvals of these developments, it should be no surprise that we've got to build a new high school. As it said in the video, as Mark Davis points out on a regular basis, we are behind the 8 ball. We're only able to react to the things that you as cities and counties do. And we want to work with you guys. We love this community. We like the fact that you're willing to run and be elected, just like these 5 board members are. There certainly does need to be more collaboration in the future, because we're scared. We're scared about the growth. And we're scared about the short period of time it's going to take for us to come back and say, you know what? High school number 3's got to be on the planning docket, because we just keep running forward with lots of development and high density housing. So that's a piece that I wanted to share with you tonight. Are there other questions? We can move forward. Steve Farrell.
Yes, Superintendent, have you got a contingency plan? Because in that same paper you talked about, there's 7 or 8 other districts raising their tax rate just to maintain the level of service we're providing now. At some point, we may hit a point, and Mayor Johnson said, we're overtaxing the people. And they may not go for the bond.
I think that one thing that we probably need to do is we need to, and this is kind of getting more into the truth and taxation era, if everyone's willing to move on at this point. But,
before you move to that one, I do have a question.
okay, we'll come back. I think we do need to do more with, one thing that's really helped us provide housing for our teachers is the self-help subdivision that's over east of Wasatch High School. I hear there's another one going on over here. We would love to be at the table and work with the county and the city to do more developments like that. Most of our teachers that are breaking into the valley and able to live here are doing it over in that self-help subdivision. And so I think that's one thing that we can do. Yeah, there will come a time when, Steve, I'm not going to argue with you, there will come a time when it's too much, and I hope we can steer things in the other direction. I hope we can slow the growth down, for one. And I hope we can make our master plans and stick to them. We had to hire 67 new teachers this year. That's counting those that left, those that retired, and the new positions that were created. So it's a big deal to us to hire teachers. We're working very diligently to try and be competitive with Utah County, with Salt Lake County, and specifically with Park City School District. And it's difficult. We're barely keeping up. We have done some raises in the last couple of years, and it's an attempt to try and at least get us on the same page with those guys. It's very common now for school districts to be starting their teachers at $50,000. We're at what, Keith? 43 and some change. We still attract people to the valley because a lot of people want to work and live here. We attract a lot of people to our school district because it's a great place to work. We offer an innovative, up-to-date curriculum that the students and teachers both thrive in. And those things continue to help drive more teachers our way. But we know that that's not going to last forever.
If you corrected some misnomers that I've had, and I appreciate that. I'd like to maybe do the same.
Okay, go ahead.
as far as the growth, by state law, if a developer buys a piece of property and they are building on that piece of property as is required by the code of that municipality or that county, and if they've crossed their T's and dotted their I's, they get to build. We don't get to say, we're tired, we can't take any more, you know? So that's not an option, but in an effort to help control growth, both the county and Midway passed open space bonds. And those open space bonds give us the opportunity to purchase the development rights off of land. Landowners get to keep their land, they get to still farm it, they get to will it to their children or sell it. All of those things can still happen, it just can never be developed. So this last year, we did, in my opinion, one of the strongest and best things that could have been done to help slow growth. And the county and Midway both did that. So we can't control growth. That's a little bit of a misnomer.
If you saw in our video, we didn't say control, we said manage.
Right, and we can only manage as far as we can, right? And so I think that's a little bit of a misnomer, that somehow the cities and the county are allowing, and many of these projects that are happening were approved 10, 20 years ago. So there, you know, and I appreciate very much your willingness to work collaboratively, and hopefully we can realize that working together we might be able to solve some of these problems.
Mayor, don't you have the ability to approve or not approve annexations of large pieces of property into the city limits?
Sure, but that project could be built in the county as well. So it's not going to stop the project if we annex it. It's still going to be in our community.
But you cannot annex.
But if it's in the county at 1 per acre, that's a lot less units than if it's annexed into a city where you can put 4 or 5 units.
And we haven't done any annexation. We've increased density, so no, I understand that in the annexation process, the zoning could change.
The Whitaker Farms, that's an annexation.
Yes, it was, and it's much smaller, it's much lower density than it could have been had we not annexed it.
But it would have been in the county.
Right, but those kids still go to your schools, right? So do you see what I'm saying? Whether the city annexes it or not.
When cities annex, they can also ask the developers to donate property for schools.
No, we can't. I mean, we can ask it. We can ask. If you find one that will, let me know, and I'll let them build it.
City offers some property.
Yeah, and I've talked to
there's a few, sure.
They did that, Mike Pearson donated property for.
Well, I think
And we're willing
So
to.
losing control.
Yeah,
10 acres.
we're shooting around it.
Yeah, there's this.
That would have helped with the growth.
I can appreciate that. What we did get was about a third of the amount of homes we would have gotten. And what we got was a beautiful parking lot from Memorial Hill and a bathroom from Memorial Hill. Good things come, and we can continue to collaborate. I think everyone should contact your state legislatures. We're one of the few states that don't allow impact fees for schools. I think that's tragic.
But the levers that I think it's important, the levers that the city councils have when they annex in large acreage into the city is they can provide stipulations to those developers. And one is property for elementary and high school and middle school sites, just like Cobblestone. Mike Peterson donated 10 acres as he
Was that required
annexed
or
in.
was that voluntary?
Do you know, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know that we can require it.
It was voluntary.
It was voluntary.
He got
I think
higher
it has to be
density
voluntary.
though.
Yeah.
It was a higher density.
Yeah.
Yep, he got higher density.
Basically, we can say these are the things we want in order for to annex you, and we absolutely get as much as we can when we
And
do
that's where the
annexation.
collaboration, let's say
Sure.
we needed a piece of property. And one way
But
that
the
we could
school
say,
can only be voluntary. I can't
No,
demand
that's
that of a
not true.
developer. Okay, let's get some clarification. Let's go offline with that. I
I've talked to my
appreciate
team
that.
about it.
Okay,
And that's, if we communicate and there's a need for a piece of property, we can have the developer pay for that versus the taxpayer.
Sean, do you even have an answer to that right now, or should we take it offline? I don't want to take any extra time. I appreciate that, and I very well may
If
be
you
wrong.
have a developer that wants to annex into your city, can you ask them?
You can ask them, but you can't demand it.
Well, if you wanted to trade it for higher density, like, that's what happened in Cobblestone.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that he
That was the
donated
negotiating piece.
10 acres
Right.
as part of his open space to get higher density. So that's a way that it could happen.
Which is one of the key subjects here is density. You do control densities, right?
And we don't increase our densities, so
But you
that's
control.
not, right, only in annexation. Anyone that comes in under a current zone,
Well,
we
let's
can't
talk
do
about that
it.
for just a moment. Like,
Yes.
like the Sorenson, that density already granted, whether it's annexed or not, it's going to have 5,700 units. And so that density was granted by the county decades ago.
And the city can't say, never mind, we decided we only want to have 1,000. Like, we don't have any right to do that. That's either going to happen in the county or the city. It's the same.
But that
They're
5,000,
allowed.
There are future developments and current developments that are being asked to be annexed in on a regular basis. So all we ask is moving forward, we can't correct the past.
Sure.
But moving forward, as we annex into this county, out from the county into the cities, there's a great opportunity to collaborate, to put the needs of the students and these buildings in the forefront of those conversations.
I think that's a great
Is that correct?
That's fair.
I just don't know
see
what we
that,
can really get, so I'm going to need clarification at some point.
road be a
No, I
prime
believe
example.
that's correct. When a property owner is asking to be
It's
annexed
mill,
from the county to the city can ask the property owner to do multiple things, including exactions, roadway dedications, property dedications. It's again an ask, it's
Right.
not a requirement because they're
Right.
not required to annex into the city. It's an ask by the property owner to the
They
city.
don't have to.
Yeah, but they will for the water and utility, it is a bargaining chip.
It is
They should
bargaining
be
chip.
asked.
I think part of the point is, and we don't want to,
Thank
we
you.
don't want
It's-
to, I appreciate Johnson's point, and I think it's a good one. We want to work together. We want to have better communication. I would be disingenuous if I didn't tell you that we have been surprised by Midway and Heber City, at least with some folks, that there is this idea that why in the world are you guys building another high school? Because we would think that with you doing your best to manage growth how you can, and if you're tracking those numbers, you would see that it's almost an obvious thing that we've got to build a new high school. We've gone from 1,300 students at our high school to 2,300 students in 9 years. Find me anywhere.
And I think we're back to that
State.
philosophical difference.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about raging growth. in
Oh, I
this county.
understand,
We're
but
talking about the fourth fastest growing county in the country,
Yeah.
and the fastest growing county in the state, even faster than Washington County by percentage. And I guess what we're saying is, it's not that we want to be critical. We want to be critical of what you're doing. We just are a little taken back that there seems to be such a surprise that we're talking about this